The winner of this year's Best Supporting Actress goes to Helena Bonham Carter.
She was once branded a home-wrecking eccentric and even a disastrous dresser by the press.
Helena Bonham Carter is here. She earned the Best Actress Oscar nomination for her performance.
Yet somehow Helena Bonham Carter, with her bird's nest hair, thrift shop glamour and wild attitude, became the very blueprint of cool for a generation.
We're pleased to have Helena Bonham Carter back on this program. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me. So to speak, I mean.
So to speak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did a shy English rose transform into Hollywood's reigning goth queen?
Please welcome the very lovely Helena Bonham Carter, everybody.
It turns out the most scandalous and misunderstood things about Helena Bonham Carter, the tabloid affair, the quirky fashion fails, the unfiltered opinions, were exactly what made her a cultural force.
Please welcome Helena Bonham Carter.
She took everything strange about herself and turned it into influence. If you only have 30 seconds, here's the bottom line of this video. Helena Bonham Carter's secret is that she never played by the rulebook. Not in life, not in film. She turned not giving a damn into art. From her habit of wearing mismatched shoes on the red carpet to her fearless portrayal of freaky misfits on screen, she proved that embracing your weirdness can make you, well, cool. She mixed aristocratic pedigree with punk spirit, made corsets and crazy hair a vibe, and didn't care who clutched their pearls. In short, she became the face of alternative glam simply by being oddly herself. But if you'd like a bit more explanation, follow me. The full story is well worth it. Welcome. I'm Kira, and this is your beauty blueprint. I've spent a whole week researching, watching, and discussing all things Helena Bonham Carter to bring you her very essence and share the best of my findings. Side note, I even designed a special Helena Bonham Carter t-shirt just for this video's launch, so check that out. Now, what exactly are the ingredients of Helena's oh-so-recognizable persona? Let's tease a few. An unusual acting style that swings from period piece propriety to wild gothic whimsy. A personal style that thumbs its nose at fashion do's and don'ts. And a life story that reads like a Victorian novel crossed with a punk fairy tale. It's snappy, it's witty, it's playful, and yes, it's a little scandalous too. Stick around, because by the end of this video I'll even serve up a quick breakdown of what we can learn, very practically speaking, from our beloved Helena. So settle in, grab a double espresso, a fizzy water, and an apple smoothie all at once, like Helena's multiple drinking key. And let's start our analysis by understanding who Helena Bonham Carter actually is, and how she came to be both the face of cool and the longtime muse of director Tim Burton. Here's a little backstory. Helena Bonham Carter was born in London in 1966 into a family that, at first glance, looked thoroughly upper crust British. I mean, her great-grandfather was a prime minister, Herbert Asquith.
How come you still live with Mom and Dad?
Well, I guess, they're nice people.
Right.
And,
But Helena's childhood had its share of darkness and upheaval. When she was 5, her psychotherapist mother suffered a severe nervous breakdown. Then, when Helena was 13, her banker father had a stroke that left him wheelchair-bound and partially blind. The Bonham Carter household suddenly turned into a world of hospitals and caregiving. Helena, once a self-described intensely shy girl, found herself growing up fast.
bang, bang, bang.
In the wake of her father's trauma, the 13-year-old made a sudden decision. She would become an actress. She cold-called an agent and launched herself. She later said, "I just went and got an agent because I thought I can create my own world. You can't write your own life, but you can escape to a world where you can have control." This impulse to reinvent reality would both fuel her career and shape her persona. By 19, Helena had burst onto the scene. She was the pale, doe-eyed ingenue in Room with a View and other merchant ivory period pieces, wafting about in corsets and silk. The British press fell in love with her and pigeonholed her. She became known as an English rose, the go-to girl for Edwardian romance. Helena herself has laughed about that chapter. I was like the corset bimbo. Well, not quite bimbo, but you know what I mean. The corset sex symbol, I suppose, she quipped. The irony, of course, is that she was herself far edgier than those prim roles. Even as she seemed to embody genteel heroines on screen, Helena was itching to get weird. She has said she always wanted to be a character actor rather than a perfect lead. Little did anyone know, the oddballs were about to take over her life. The late 90s brought the first metamorphosis. In 1999, Helena shocked everyone by taking a role completely against her type. Marla Singer in Fight Club. Bye-bye upper crust accent and satin gowns. Hello, smudged eyeliner, cigarette smoke, and nihilistic one-liners. As the manic pixie anarchist Marla, she was feral and hypnotic, and suddenly, a whole new audience saw her in a different light. The public perception of her flipped overnight. The delicate English rose became a disturbed American anti-heroine, trading tea parties for seedy basements. Critics were initially baffled. The film was booed at its Venice premiere, but Fight Club soon became a cult classic, and Helena Bonham Carter's place in the cool kids club of cinema was secured. It didn't hurt that around the same time, she earned an Oscar nomination for The Wings of the Dove, and proved she had serious dramatic chops. Helena had forcefully escaped the pigeonhole. The next turning point in her story was both professional and deeply personal. Tim Burton. In 2001, Helena was cast in his Planet of the Apes. The two hardly spoke on set. Burton told her, "Don't take this the wrong way, but you are the first person I thought of to play the chimp." A backhanded compliment if ever there was one. But sometime after filming, sparks flew. In a plot twist worthy of a Tim Burton film, Helena and Tim fell in love, and he ended up buying a house right next door to hers in London's Hampstead. In fact, he bought 2 houses, and the couple famously lived in side-by-side homes joined by a bridge, each keeping their own whimsical space while raising the family they'd soon start. For 13 years, Helena Bonham Carter and Tim Burton were a unit, an unmarried but devoted duo who became known fondly as Hollywood's bonkers couple. They had 2 children together, and collaborated on a string of movies that defined the 2000s in cinema's darker, quirkier corners. Think about it. Big Fish, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows. Helena was in all of them, often opposite Johnny Depp in wild costumes and grotesque makeup, singing, scheming, slashing throats, you name it. She became Burton's muse and partner in crime.
Oh God, yeah. I had to be approved by my husband too. Or not, he's not my husband, but, you know, the father of my 2 bastards.
Off camera, the image of Helena and Tim, both in black with messy hair and quirky sunglasses, strolling red carpets with an air of goth whimsy, made them pop culture icons. Not since the days of Bonnie and Clyde, or maybe Gomez and Morticia Adams, had a couple been so adorably spooky. The media sometimes mocked Helena's disheveled style. One notorious fashion critic or two put her on worst-dressed lists for daring to wear wrinkled Vivienne Westwood gowns or mismatched shoes, but she half enjoyed the label. As an escape from her prim typecast youth, she found being called a fashion disaster oddly liberating. But they were calling her other things. We can't talk about Helena's life without touching on the scandal that the British tabloids dined out on in the mid-90s. Before Burton, Helena's love life had already made headlines, in a rather infamous way. She had an affair with actor Kenneth Branagh, who at the time was married to Emma Thompson. This became one of the UK's juiciest celebrity scandals of the 90s. Branagh and Thompson were the golden couple of British cinema, and Helena was painted as the goth temptress who broke them up. In truth, Branagh and Thompson's marriage was reportedly on the rocks before Helena came along, and Helena and Branagh went on to date openly for a few years. But the press wasn't kind. Helena later said her relationships had been misunderstood in the press, alluding to the Branagh saga and even her later partnership with Burton. "Yes, I'm a habitual serial homebreaker, apparently," she noted with acid wit, calling the accusations very hurtful, and frankly some of the things I have been called are quite libelous. Still, she shrugged, it's part of the price of being in the public eye. That experience could have made her quite bitter, but Helena did something interesting. Rather than appear squeaky clean, she leaned into an image of herself as a scandalous wildcard. In a way, the homewrecker smear only fed the sense that Helena Bonham Carter was a woman who followed her own heart and damned the torpedoes. Misunderstood? Yes. But ultimately, true to herself. By the 2010s, Helena was firmly established as British acting royalty. Oscar nominations, big franchise roles. Hello, Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter, and continued indie cred. She and Tim Burton separated in 2014. Helena candidly admitted that the breakup was painful, describing it as a grief and a loss of identity. When you're with somebody, your identity is wrapped up in that person. It's a loss of identity when you break up. You still have to grieve for all the good bits, she said of ending things with Tim. But true to form, she emerged from that chapter with humor. I had a depression, definitely, she said, but added, after all the grieving, I've got a whole new life. It's fun, it's less boring. It's got a whole new unpredictability. It's really nice. In her 50s now, Helena Bonham Carter feels she's entering a prime. She's even playing lead roles again, notably starring as the formidable Noel Gordon in the miniseries Nolly, and relishing the rich parts that this streaming era TV has to offer women of a certain age. So how did Helena do it? How did a shy girl, once pigeonholed in frilly frocks, create this bold, darkly sparkling persona that has inspired so many? We're about to dig into Helena Bonham Carter's self-made blueprint, the psychology, the style, the je ne sais quoi behind her one-in-a-million presence. Stay with me here, because in the next section we'll decode how Helena's offbeat choices tapped into something deeper, maybe even archetypal, that made her the cool icon of her era. Before we jump in, a quick breather. If you're enjoying this, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and lets me know you want more of these explorations. And hey, channel members, love you guys. Thank you for your support. If you're not a member yet, consider joining for members-only podcast episodes, emojis, and more. And don't forget, I've got that limited edition Helena Bonham Carter t-shirt. Alright, onward. Now, let's examine the method to Helena's madness. Many actors cultivate a public image. Helena seemingly uncultivated hers. She once joked, "Sometimes I get it right and sometimes I get it wrong, but fashion is all about having fun. I feel like breaking the mold and seeing that the world won't crumble." That ethos, don't be afraid, rules are made to be broken, is at her core. Helena Bonham Carter presents as a glorious mess, a free spirit who genuinely doesn't care if you think she looks put together or not. And paradoxically, that made her the coolest person in any room. Let's talk style first, since it's the most immediately visible aspect of her persona. In an age where many Hollywood stars hire stylists to ensure they're flawlessly on trend, Helena marched to her own offbeat drum. She became famous for her kooky fashion. Case in point, at the 2011 Golden Globe Awards, she showed up wearing one red shoe and one green shoe. A deliberate mismatch that had photographers in a frenzy. Critics snarked, but Helena didn't back down. "Why not wear mismatching shoes? Who says we can't? I was just having fun," she told people afterwards. "For me, fashion is all about fantasy and putting unlikely things together. I genuinely love dressing up." This wasn't a pose. It's something she'd been doing for years on her own time. Paparazzi shots routinely caught Helena in layered, eccentric outfits on the streets of London. Say a Victorian-style corset over a tartan skirt with scuffed boots and maybe 2 pairs of glasses perched on her head for good measure. She adores mixing prints, textures, eras. Vogue recently gushed that her errand-running ensemble of clashing florals and plaids was eclectic. Only she could pull off. It's clashing, it's camp, and, well, it's utterly fabulous. In a current fashion climate obsessed with quiet luxury and beige minimalism, Helena is the rebel yell. "It's refreshing to see someone scream for once," Vogue declared. Helena has fun with style in a way that's contagious. She gives the rest of us permission to refuse to be boring. No surprise, she ended up on Vanity Fair's best dressed list one year. Being true to yourself can win, eventually. This style bravado ties into something deeper. Helena's persona taps into archetypes of the unruly woman, the witchy goddess, the playful trickster. Helena often embodies the shadow side of femininity. Think of her Bellatrix Lestrange in Harry Potter, cackling and chaotic with her wild mane, or her Mrs. Lovett in Sweeney Todd baking human pies with morbid glee. These characters are transgressive, naughty, deliciously free of nicety, and Helena's off-screen vibe echoes them. It's as if she made herself into a living character, an artwork of eccentricity. Yet, unlike some actors who might get lost in such an image, Helena remains grounded and self-aware. She's in on the joke. She'll be the first to call herself mad, or to poke fun at her own fashion. She saved those mismatched shoes I mentioned, and joked about maybe wearing them on her head next time. That self-deprecation makes her eccentricity feel inviting, not alienating. We sense that Helena's kookiness isn't an affectation. It's genuinely who she is, and she's laughing along with us at the absurdity of it all. Her personality also shines through in candid interviews. Helena speaks her mind in a very unfiltered way, which has occasionally courted controversy. For instance, she has bemoaned society's obsession with age, and openly embraces getting older. Every single magazine, Instagram, anything, it's all about thou shalt not age. It's a dirty word, aging, she told BBC Radio. Our cultural shame around getting older is pathological. I'm definitely the cliche of saying I'm miles happier than I was when I was younger. I don't ever want to go back there, Helena declared. My exterior envelope may be less aesthetically pleasing, but on the inside, I'm much more interesting and dynamic, and I think attractive.
You've said, Olivia, that you're not a great one for the research.
Understatement, yes. Sorry.
It's a big part of why so many women find Helena inspiring. She makes even aging look cool. Helena's frankness can extend to more thorny issues too. In late 2022, she made headlines for defending her friends J.K. Rowling and Johnny Depp in the court of public opinion. Many of her peers had shunned Rowling over the controversial comments on gender, but Helena bluntly called the backlash horrendous, a load of bollocks, saying Rowling had been hounded for having an opinion. She also said she felt Depp, who is godfather to her children, had been completely vindicated by his defamation trial victory. Furthermore, Helena slammed cancel culture as a witch hunt with a lack of understanding, insisting that you can't ban people for their personal lives. These comments were divisive. But agree or not, it was pure Helena to voice an unpopular stance so brazenly. She has never been one to follow the herd. In this case, you see her fierce loyalty and her aversion to mob mentality. It's a little scandalous, sure, but it's consistent with the Bonham Carter blueprint. All of these elements, the playful fashion rebellion, the embrace of age and imperfection, the frank tongue, the aura of gothic whimsy, come together to form Helena Bonham Carter's persona. And it's a persona that has proven remarkably influential. Still with me? Great, because now it's time for a quick beauty and style breakdown. What can we learn and maybe steal from her look? And no, I'm not suggesting you show up to your next work meeting in a full Victorian corset, unless you want to. But there are some surprisingly useful tricks nestled in Helena's chaos. Let's break it down. First, fashion-wise, the key lesson from Helena is don't be afraid to mix and mismatch. She'll combine high and low, rough and fancy, a couture gown with a pair of beat-up boots, or an elaborate hat with a casual cardigan. So try this. Pair something feminine with something edgy in your own wardrobe. If you love two patterns, wear them together and break the so-called rules. Just find a unifying color or theme. Helena, for instance, often mixes prints but keeps them in the same color family. She once wore florals and plaid all in red tones, so it looked crazily cohesive. And accessories? More is more. Hair and makeup in the Helena mode are all about embracing your private, intimate imperfection. Helena's hair is naturally wavy, and she famously lets it do its wild thing. She'll pin it up haphazardly, leave tendrils sticking out. It's perfectly imperfect. As for makeup, Helena tends to accentuate her eyes. Often it's a smoky, smudgy eye.
Say when.
I will. I didn't.
Not the precise Instagram cut crease, but a more lived-in smokiness that says I've been up to something. Now, I'd love to hear from you. What's your favorite Helena Bonham Carter role or look? Is it the twisted Marla singer with her smudged eye makeup and thrifted bridesmaid dresses? Or Bellatrix with that crazy hair and mania? Let me know in the comments. I will read them all. And I'm so curious which side of Helena resonates most with you. And if you've ever taken a fashion risk inspired by her, definitely share. We might get some great ideas from each other. Before we wrap up, here's a quick last note. Don't fear being misunderstood. The things that made people raise their eyebrows at Helena Bonham Carter, her quirks, her candid mouth, her refusal to fit, those ended up being exactly what defined her precious legacy. There's a line she gave recently that I just love. I'm much more forgiving of myself now than I was then. The curse of being young is you take your complex too seriously. As soon as you're a bit older, you tell the demons to shut up because they're boring. We can choose to stop obsessing over our perceived flaws and just say, whatever, and get on with the fun of living. You add layers as you go, you discard what doesn't work, you keep what empowers you. In the end, the goal isn't to become another Helena. There can only be one, after all. The goal is to become the most you version of you, with a little extra bravery and whimsy thrown in. Well, I hope Helena's story left you with not only some fun anecdotes and style tips, but also a spark of inspiration to unleash your own inner eccentric. I know that's what I felt the first time I laid my eyes on her image.
I went to speak. What was the flipping question?
I've queued up the next chapter for you here. I'll see you soon. Love, Kira. Now go create your own blueprint.